And I went down to city council and I said, hey, this is the best time. There is no other time like now for this community to develop. What I found was atrocious. I saw he had taken those affirmative action things out in the city ordinances. They were no longer being used. So at this point in time, I said, that's enough, Don. You got to go. And that's what I've been doing in every debate that he showed up, is pointed that out, that he has to go. And I presume the reason he didn't show up tonight is because I didn't tell him he's got to go. Thank you. My name is Lenny Chisholm.
Thank you, Lenny Chisholm. Next, please welcome Natalie Johnson-Lee.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Johnson-Lee, and I am candidate for 5th Ward City Council. Many of you know me because I served on City Council before. And so I'm going to tell a little story that I'll go into while I'm running. I talked to a friend today, and she said, tell them about what you've learned. And I thought about that being a really interesting statement. Let me just be real clear. Many people think that the reason I'm not there now is because I did something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I believe I served well. People just made a different choice. Now they see the choice, and now they want to make a new choice. And so I'm presenting myself for them to be a new choice for that particular office. But let me tell you what I've learned. And men, don't be offended when I say this. I am a woman leader, and one of the things about women is we just do the work. We don't take credit, we don't shoot out our horn, we don't shout from the mountaintops what we do. You know, I love my men, but you know, if you guys tie your shoe right, everybody in the house needs to know. But that's the quality of a man. A man will project their benefits and what they've done. Women don't, we just do the work. So one of the things that I did not do is I did not toot my own horn. I didn't tell you what I did. I didn't tell you that when it was the most controversial to speak on issues that I spoke up, irrespective of what would happen, you know, or how people would come after me. So for instance, when the woman in the Horn Towers died, along with the police officer, I acknowledged her as a human being, which was seemed to be an issue amongst the police force, and so and the Federation, and they came after me. When we were looking at predatory lending practices in the 5th Ward, I helped sponsor a bill that would strengthen the language so that we would educate our constituency right. And I said that if you don't do this now, you will begin to see what will happen later. As you see now, we're plagued in this community with foreclosures. The current council member made sure that he was absent for that particular vote. If you check the current council member's record on participation, you will see that he had a lot of absenteeism on critical issues that impact this community as well. They also, when we needed somebody to champion the Civil Rights Department, we've got a new Civil Rights Director. The mayor was just going to put that Civil Rights Director in, just like they did with the current Civil Rights Director, Michael Jordan, without bringing that director to the community. I forced the hand not only of my colleagues, but of the mayor to bring that Civil Rights Director here into the community so that the community could have a conversation with that director to see, are you the right one for us? As well as, when I represented the 5th Ward, was the boundaries were a little bit different. So not only did I have half of the north side, I had north side Broadway to the south, up until you get to the Bryn Mawr limits. I had the North Loop, I had part of Southeast, and I had half of downtown. So as we begin to work and develop businesses, one of the things that we talked about is we had talked about Cafe Tatabuna. Cafe Tatabuna is not there, but this is what I've learned from Cafe Tatabuna. Cafe Tatabuna was a viable business, but what happened with Cafe Tatabuna, they didn't have the cash flow to continue to operate. So one of the things that needs to happen when you bring small businesses in, you need to make sure and ensure that they have the cash flow to sustain them until they can get on their feet and get to moving. The reason why, and those are a few things. Also, if you go over Southeast and you go to the Lunds, that's my work. You go downtown, there was Bella Note's, that was my work. There was a lot of businesses, the new NBA restaurant, that was my work. So it was a lot of the new, this may be trivial, but those that go to the Target Center, the new seats in the Target Center, that was work that we did under my watch. So I say that to you to say that there was a lot of work that got done, and I can continue on and continue on and continue on, but you need to know why I'm running now. I'm running now because I began to think about what I did after I observed what's going on. I looked at the political landscape, and I was very disturbed. I was disturbed, and understand this, nothing to do with the current individuals that are running for office. I was very disturbed with the current leadership. And not only how they were representing our community, but how they were talking about who our community was and what we could and could not do. I'm offended that you think that people outside of the community can serve us better than those inside the community. I'm offended that you talk about burning down the structure versus building up the structure. I'm offended that you say that foreclosure is good when people are losing their houses and it affects the tax base of a city, versus saying how can it's an atrocity that has plagued our community and we need to do something about it. So I'm offended when you say that you want to represent a people that really, it sounds like you don't even like. So therefore, I've said this, and I've said this all the time. I love the North Side. I've lived on the North Side for 17 years. I've invested in the North Side. All of my children have graduated from Minneapolis public schools. They all are either college graduates or in college at this particular time. When I look at the community, this is what I want to see. I want to see not only the boards come off the houses, but I want to see people who left, who had their houses boarded up. I want to see them come back to the community. I want to see them I want to see us have programs that can get them back into their houses. I want to see good transportation in this community that gets us to and from where we need to go, not take us downtown to get to cross the street on the North Side. I want to see more employment opportunities granted by small businesses, small business owners in the city, especially the North Side of Minneapolis. I want to see good public safety, but I want our constituents and I want the people in the city of Minneapolis or Fifth Ward to feel safe. It's one thing when you call the police, but it's another thing when you have to think about calling to police. You know, we shouldn't have to think about calling our police to protect us. It should be something that we know if we call the police, we're going to have a good response time, as well as they're going to treat us like we need to be treated. They're there to protect and serve. They're not to be predators on us. We, at the city, what I want the city to be is I want the city to be a partner with its residents and not a predator on its residents. We have the city has created predatory practices at this particular time against the citizens of Minneapolis. Is that a stop or is that a few minutes?
You got one more minute.
Okay, thank you. All right. I also want to see our parks thrive. I'd like to see an independent park board. Right now, I'm kind of concerned if the city takes over the parks, what will happen to that land? That is valuable land. And sold to the right people, it can make some people a lot of money. We don't want to see that happen to our parks. Many of you in here, especially if you grew up in Minneapolis, you played in the parks. You worked around them. You played basketball, you played football, you ran track, you did a lot of things in the parks. So therefore, we want to save and preserve our parks. We also want to be strong advocates of our educational system. We want to make sure, even though we're the school board, we're not the school board, but the results of an uneducated or an educated child has an impact on the city that we live in. And so I want to make sure that we partner strongly with the school board to make sure that we have educated children. I think my time is running up, and I'll continue with my follow-up.
Next round, I'm going to ask each candidate to take 3 minutes to follow up the first statements you made. You may want to use this time to create distinctions between your position, your priority, and those of the fellow candidates. We'll begin with Roger Smithroot, 3 minutes. Before he begins, there are cards on your tables. If you have a question, please write your question, and after this round, I will collect the questions from you, and we'll address those questions to the candidates. Mr. Smithroot. This order for this round, and then we'll switch the order the other way around for the questions and answers. 3 minutes.
As I've said before, I'd like to see city inspections and zoning. And when you go down to get a permit or try to get your business going, to be able to get all the paperwork and everything, most people, most citizens do not know the whole process. We have what should be a team of experts that know most of the codes, and if they don't know the codes, they have the computer right in front of them and are supposed to know how to look it up. We need to try and get these people to help our citizens try and achieve their goals and create a teamwork so that not just the city gets respect, but the people get the respect, because they're supposed to be public servants as well as your city councilmen and things that